Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Come on in. It's time for fusion, baby. Time for some life changing things. We're gonna wait till a few people come in, and then we're gonna get started. Please feel free to comment as we start the conversation. Now, usually I shout out the people that are coming in, but I can't see your names on this platform that I'm using. So as you comment, you will be able to be seen and be shouted out and be added. I love y'all. I appreciate you guys, and I thank you for um, coming in to check out Fusion. Hey, Shangela. Hey, Lawrence. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. As you come in, just shoot me a little comment. Let me know you're here. And we're on Facebook Live right now. We're also streaming live to YouTube. I'm also on YouTube as Joe Smith. You can type in Millionaire Joe and find me on YouTube. Hey, Nicole. I am excited about Fusion. I'm going to go ahead and get started and let people join as they join. This is going to be an awesome conversation. Awesome, 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 awesome. Hey, Kara. Hey, Pastor Warren. Hello, hello. Um, hey, Shanitra. Thanks for joining. I'm going to go ahead and get started because we got a lot to unpack. And my guest that I have tonight, usually when we get to talking and get to going, our conversations end up being long anyway. Hey, Gail. Hey, Kim. So, hey, Allison. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. The show is an hour long, but we're probably going to go past that today because there's a lot that I want you to get. We're talking about the poverty mindset. Hey, Ramona. The poverty mindset is something that holds back a lot of people, not just Black people, not just white people, not just Asians, not just Hispanics. Poverty mindset holds back any and everybody. Poverty touches everybody, all parts of the world. I know sometimes when you are going through certain things, it feels like you're the only one that's going through that thing, or that you own that particular pain and suffering. But there's a lot of people that are affected by it. And it's important that we talk about it because people don't really understand what drives poverty. They think that poverty is just a lack of money. And hey, Juan, hey, Doris, poverty is not just a lack of money. Poverty is a mindset. I saw a quote the other day that I really, really love, and it said that poverty is 50% circumstances and 50% acceptance of those circumstances as being unchangeable. Let me say that again. Poverty is 50% circumstances and 50% acceptance of those circumstances as being unchangeable. So when you think about that how poverty is a mindset thing. So what happens is when you have a lack of resources and a lack of opportunities, and then it infects your mind and you get it in your mind that this is something that's not going to change. I don't have any way out of this. I'm stuck. There's no way for me to succeed. There's no way for me to get from where I am to where I want to be. Then that becomes the driving force behind what keeps you bound. So I often say that back in the day when I was in the hood, we used to play basketball on the y'all remember the playground basketball court. And if a guy couldn't play that good, we used to say he was self-check. So that means you don't have to check him. You don't have to apply no pressure to him. He sucks so bad, he's going to miss the shot, or he's going to, turn the ball over, or he's going to trip over his own feet, or he's going to do something to sabotage his own self. So a lot of times that's the way poverty works. It's not some outside force holding you back. The outside force may have been the start of the problem, but once the poverty infects your mindset, you hold yourself back through fear, through um, being nervous about reaching out past your what you feel are your limitations. All of these things hold you back, and so I'm going to get right into this conversation. I'm going to bring in my guest, and before I do that, let me just say thank you, Dexter, for coming. Hey, Tania. Hey, Kanita. Thanks for joining, guys. I'm going to say that what Fusion is all about is where faith and business merge. And what I wanted to do with Fusion was add another layer to what many of us already hear in churches, motivational speakers, different things of that nature, where they give you the motivation, they give you the inspiration, but a lot of times you don't get a lot of information and you don't get a lot of practical everyday things that you can apply to your life as a roadmap or a blueprint to get you from where you are to where you want to be. This is not about so much chasing wealth and materialism, although there's nothing wrong with wealth. There's nothing wrong with having material things, as long as you don't allow those things to get in your heart and corrupt you and corrupt your principles and your morals and your values. There's nothing wrong with having stuff. But the main thing is getting from where you are to where you want to be. Okay, so I'm going to bring in my guest. We're going to get this party started. Yeah, yeah. That was my 1970s voice thing. As this conversation is happening, hit those likes, hit those hearts, hit all of those things, because that gives us a lot more engagement. The more likes and hearts and stuff you give, then the engagement goes up. The algorithm causes more people to see. Okay, so my guest is Dr. Nicole Farmer. She is a serial entrepreneur, and she is a business coach. She is my business coach personally, and that's how I found out about her story, is because when we would meet for our coaching sessions would always turn into these long conversations where we would just talk about poverty and talk about her journey and talk about how she got to where she is now. And I mean, as a business coach, she is phenomenal. When I say phenomenal, I mean, I sat down in our first session and told her just spit my ideas out. And she got this big old board in her office, and she took the marker and started like hammering out a game plan. And this is what you need to do first, and this is where you need to go, and you need to do this, and you need to do that. And I'm like, how did you interpret that like that so fast? That's pretty darn good. So ever since then, she's been helping me out and helping me get where I want to go. And she's going to help you tonight. Why don't you welcome Dr. Nicole Farmer? Welcome, Dr. Nicole, to Fusion.
Thank you so much for having me. I am so excited, especially since I'm your first guest. Yay!
I know, right? You are my first guest.
Yes, I'm excited to start this conversation and really dig deep in what I feel as though that I see a concern in just the population period, and then how we really can address it. And so I really am thankful for your platform, so that we can start to work at getting to the root and healing people where they are.
Absolutely. So let's start with talking about your background. You shared a lot with me about and I believe you never even really dug deep into your story. So talk a little bit about your background, how you grew up, poverty, that whole thing.
Well, I think that would take a little bit longer than the hour, so I'm going to try to sum that up. I think where life started to just kind of be different for me is when I had my son at 14 years old. So being a teenage mom, at that in that moment of life, I was already a court ward. So I was in a group home. So no parents there, no true support. And then now here I am, find out that I'm pregnant and literally shipped to Jackson, Michigan, where I'm completely alone and not with any friends or anyone. And that's when it started to dawn on me that life, that what I thought I knew, especially as a child, just completely changed. And, fast forward, having to raise my son, in and in and out of shelters multiple times, not having food, at least enough food on my table to feed both my son and myself. So a lot of times I would just make certain he ate, and he would maybe share his meal with me because he just knew, even though he did not know. And that's really what I thought my life was going to be. I mean, my thing was, if I could just make $12 an hour, if I could just get a good enough car that would run so that I would not be broke down on the side of the road, and I could get to point A to point B, which was my job, maybe 40, 50 miles away. You always got to go to the suburbs, right, to then come back. Living in a Section 8 house, apartment building, roach infested, mice infected, infested. I just thought that was the norm. Like, that was all that I was going to ever have. And that also resulted, after I started to kind of work through my mindset, I started to understand that it was also stories that were fed to me. I remember, being told from social workers that, hey, you're going to have, 8 babies by 10 different men, and that's your life, that you're going to be always on welfare, and that's all that you're going to be now. So I subconsciously believed it,
So wait a minute. The social worker said that to you?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
When I was pregnant, the social worker had actually put in a recommendation to the judge for me to have an abortion. So when you're a state ward, you don't have control over your body. You are literally a number and a check. So other people are making decisions for you. And so it was really by the grace of God that, of course, was, they said no. But both my social worker and even my lawyer was saying I should have an abortion. So, so when you are in those type of situations, that's all you see, that's all you feel, that's all you smell. What else is there?
Yeah. So even if you saw something like, a movie or a TV show where people lived a better life or were rich or whatever, you just process that as being fantasy land.
Well, so this was I felt as though that because I got pregnant, because of my mistakes, I disqualified myself from that. And that's what I also noticed a lot of people feel, as though that they feel as though that they disqualified themselves because of mistakes that they have made or decisions that they have made. And so now they're just stuck. Because growing up, my grandmother raised me. My mother, she's passed on now, but she was schizophrenic. So, and I didn't know who my father was. So living in the home with my grandmother, she would constantly feed me the notion that I was not like her. You are one of the elite. That you're just around me, but you really don't belong here. You don't belong in this area. And she would take me different places. So the Whitney was a normal place for me to eat at as a child. Doing different high-end things was the norm as a child. I didn't even know that I was poor growing up because she constantly put into my face that, you belong there. You belong with those people. You don't really belong with people like me. And so she kept that separation. She put me in the most elite music, Suzuki method, which is a Japanese method, learning piano. So I was a concert pianist at age 5. I mean, I played for some of the largest CEOs and getting paid at a young age. But again, it's not clicking that was entrepreneurship. But yet we would go to like someone's high rise or someone's mansion, and she would constantly say, "This is how you're supposed to live. This is how you are. You know, when you make it, you're going to have parties like this." You know, so she would constantly have that type of discussion.
Wow.
But when I made the mistake, I felt like I now have, I've given that up. That's no longer my portion.
So now you said some very, very, very important things. And I want the listeners to understand. What her grandmother was doing was sowing seeds into her spirit. And so even when she went through that period of darkness where she felt like she had disqualified herself, those seeds were still inside of her. So make sure you watch what you say to your children. Make sure you watch what you say to your grandchildren. Expose them to more, even if you in the hood. Drive out. Now, I remember when I was a teenager and I first got my driver's license, I didn't know anything about the suburbs, but I would drive through Sherwood Forest, you know, and I don't even know how I knew to do that at 16, but I would just drive through Sherwood Forest and look at those big houses. That's sowing seeds.
Yes.
And so that was in you even when you were going through the homes and the shelters and things of that nature. Now talk to me about when things started to turn around. Now, okay, so let me fast forward a little bit, and you let me know if I'm skipping some stuff because I'm anxious to get to this other story.
I feel you.
Okay, I'm anxious to get to the story about your first business. So, take me from where we stopped to the first business.
So, I was married, and was in this marriage that, again, my mindset only showed me that was what I deserved. And by that time, this was marriage number 2. So at least released myself from a very abusive marriage to then now jump into a different style abuse. But I was still okay with it because again, growing up, even though my grandmother did all this wonderful stuff, she was still very abusive herself. So so what I understood is that I identified abuse as love. So, so during that time, again, going back to this poverty situation, right? I am taking my mother-in-law to her chemotherapy appointments, using her car, and then taking the children to school, and then taking my now ex-husband to work, and with her car. So we didn't even have a car. So completely on welfare, back on welfare, or never really left welfare, the welfare system. Receiving, I was balling, okay, Joe. I was balling with $780 in food stamps. You couldn't tell me nothing, okay? Period.
$780, huh?
Baby, okay, I was balling. So I had my food stamp card, and and I'm dropping everybody off and picking everybody up. And at that time, I had just had Sebastian, and he was like 3 weeks old. So I'm going through postpartum depression and everything. I mean, it was just absolutely crazy. And he was working he's a mechanic by trade. And and he was working at an auto repair shop, a franchise repair shop. a Tuffy Out Service Center. And so I'm dropping them off and picking them up and going about my merry way to hurry up to go to the grocery store so I could, take my food stamps and sell them to somebody. Let's come on, keep it real. And during one of these trips, as I started to go, I'm going there every day. Here I'm in the situation where the couple who owned the auto repair shop, they started to come outside and greet me, and they started to have started to converse with me. And next thing I know, after a couple of weeks of this, they said, you can own this. And I was like, you are absolutely crazy. Okay. Like, you're Jewish, you're white, I'm Black. This does not rub off. Okay. Unless you're going to take my EBT card, boo. This is way, like, it's one thing to say, okay, I'm going to go buy me some jewelry, or I'm going to buy a car, or, it wasn't even in my mindset that I could even afford a house to purchase a home. And you're sitting there telling me I could buy this business? And so day after day, they're coming out, they're talking to me, right? When I first pull up, and then when I come back in the evening to, pulling up, and they tell me, look, you can own this. It doesn't matter the skin, the color of your skin. It does not matter what you have gone through. And they just kept going on and on. But I thought that was crazy. I mean, they were literally crazy. They sitting there telling me, oh, I put my son through Harvard and my daughter went through Yale. And I said, okay, that's terrific. And they're like, yeah, you can have this lifestyle, and, you can do this, and it's right here. Being in Detroit, it doesn't mean nothing. There's money in the city. I'm like, but it's not for me. What is yours?
Wow.
And so finally,
hold on. Let me get this straight. I want the listeners to get this. So now you're going up to this auto repair shop, because you were breaking up a little bit. I want to make sure they don't miss this. You're going to this auto repair shop, and the couple that owned the shop would come out of the shop to greet you.
Yes.
And in greeting you, they said, you can own this.
Yes. They said that I had something, that there was something in me that was greater, that what was in me being able to survive everything that I have gone through, and me having the tenacity to take care of my family and my mother-in-law and everything, that is the same substance that is necessary in order to be an entrepreneur.
So wait a minute. Oh, hold on. Now you just dropped a nugget on us again. So people that are struggling, people that are going through, people that are having it hard, people that are dealing every day with circumstances, toughing it out, people that are getting up at the crack of dawn to catch the bus to a job that pays less than minimum wage, they don't even realize that tough life is building in them the stuff that success is made of.
Yes. I mean, in all actuality, and I didn't believe them, but what I did say, because at the time I really wasn't like a Christian necessarily. I mean, I believed in God because I was brought up Buddhist, so that's a whole nother discussion. So I finally did believe in God and everything, but I still wasn't like where I am now, right? And right. So, but it was still something there that would say to me, hey, if they see something in you and you don't even see it in yourself, take what they see in you. Go with what they see. Like, hey, they a lot smarter than you. They've been on this earth a lot longer. This is an opportunity. Ding dong, ding dong. This is an opportunity. The opportunity isn't presenting itself for no reason. What's the worst that can happen? They say no. I get told no. Please, I've had a lot worse happen to me other than no.
Yes.
Come on.
So then what happened? What was the next step for you?
So this is the crazy part. I want your viewers, listeners to just hold on to their seat because I know they're about to get upset. Because I know when I told you this story, you kind of got really upset about this whole situation here. So the couple introduced me to their broker. So you typically have a broker, just like how you have a real estate agent, there are business brokers that you can connect with. Just side note, if you're looking to purchase a business, you can purchase a business, put a down payment on a business and pay on it. And you can connect with brokers that can help you through that process. So they connected me to their broker that they were selling through. And
okay, so hold on. So at some point, then it went from just talk to now they're actually about to sell the business.
They were pushing me. This is not me all like skipping down the street all willy, all like they're pushing me. I'm not saying yes to nothing because they're not taking my EBT card, Joe. What part of I ain't got no money don't nobody understand? So I wasn't a willing participant in this discussion.
So they basically you gonna buy this business.
This is what you gonna do today. You gonna do this today. And it really was that type of scenario, right? But it was like, hey, what else do I have to do? What else am I doing? I'm not doing nothing but sitting on the couch watching Days of Our Lives, like what am I? So they had me go and, connect with their business broker. So I made a phone call and she was like, hey, set up a meeting. I went to the meeting, worse than color people time. And so I was like 2 hours late to the meeting. And, I'm just strolling in there like, I don't have nothing else better to do. And she opened the door and she said, you know what? That's what's wrong with you people. Why don't you get yourself together, come back tomorrow and on time? Slammed the door. I was like, you don't know, I'm from East 7 Mile, Lord. Oh, Jesus. So, but then again, I was like, well, she could have just not opened up the door. She could have just said, you know what? I don't have time for you. You're not serious. But she told me to come back the next day. So even though she offended me, I still came back the next day. So I came back the next day, but I still kind of strolled in and just had on some regular clothes. She opened up the door and she said, wow, is this how you come to a meeting? Oh, I can't take this. Come back tomorrow on time and dress better. Slammed the door in my face. So I came back the next day. I put a suit on. I had the baby with me. By this time, he's like 4 weeks, 5 weeks or so. So I had the baby with me. I put a suit on the baby then. So you're not going to put me out because the baby don't have no suit on. So we both suited. And we roll in there and we sit down. Because now I'm on time, which on time, just FYI, is 10 minutes before your actual scheduled appointment. Just FYI.
Right.
And so now she's sitting there and she's like, yeah, you know what's wrong with you people? You people don't never look at an opportunity and take it. You people, and now I can't say all what she was saying, but she was calling me she was saying MF, and that's what's wrong with y'all B's. That's what's wrong with y'all N's. Like she's cussing. She's being very derogatory. I mean, very offensive to the 20th degree. Like I really was sitting there gritting my teeth. But the reason why I stayed is that mindset. Well, she must see something in me or she would not be abusing me. And I connect abuse to love. I connect abuse to someone wants to do something, someone wants to help, someone wants to be. And later in life, I figured that was what God had to do in order for me to sit there and be present into what she was saying. And so this was like a 2-3 hour meeting. Now this woman, she's a broker, big fat diamond on her hand. I mean, she's balling. So I'm like, my time is money, and you're spending this time with me. I don't care if you cussing me out or whatever. You're spending this time with me. Why would you? Unless you saw something in me, right? That was my thing at that time. Again, going back to mindset. And she was constantly saying, you know, there's money for you people, but you people are so lazy and you're so, you know, just I don't even, you just want to stay on welfare. You just want to take a handout and you just want this kind of lifestyle for yourself. And but there's money for you people. If I was like you, I would have took this opportunity and ran. And so I'm sitting there like, so I heard all the cussing, but what I heard was there's money for people that look like me and have a position like me in life like me, and a opportunity of a lifetime. And so I'm like,
so this is crucial, y'all. Now, some of y'all watching this right now, if you were sitting in a meeting and a Jewish lady was saying the things to you that they said to her, you just be getting off of probation.
For real.
You would just now, 3 months ago, would have been your last check-in for probation for what you'd have did to that lady for talking to you that way. Because we're so emotional.
Yes.
And I think that our emotions and our hyper-emotionalism works to our benefit in many settings, but they work against us in a lot of settings because we miss opportunities over, I don't know who she thinks she's talking to. She's talking to me. She ain't gonna talk to me no any kind of way, blah, 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 blah. I know I have friends in the music world, for example, that I have one person in particular that missed a major, major opportunity in Hollywood, because in Hollywood, they're very direct and they're very blunt because it's not personal. They just, I ain't got time to baby you or coddle you or, you know, care about your feelings. It's boom, 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 boom. And this guy, you know, he's from Detroit, and his immediate response was, I don't know who he think you talking to. He ain't gonna talk to me no any kind of way. And he walked away from the opportunity because he was offended by how he was talked to.
There are no emotions when dealing with business. And I have to constantly tell people, yeah, you're going to be emotional. You know how many times I come home and I might cry, or I might, you know, just be screaming and hollering and telling my husband whatever. But when I'm at that table, when I'm in that board meeting, no, I understand that this is the deal. And I have been in multiple board meetings where they say some derogatory things about my people. And I have to sit there and defend in a very, you know, in a very diplomatic way, in a very nice way, because you don't even know how depending on the situation, like, let me just say it. I don't want to be pinged as the angry Black woman when I'm at a board meeting. When I'm at the table, I'm not going to be the angry Black woman, because that's what a lot of nationalities look at Black women as. So now I have to try to change that perspective. So I have to talk a certain way. I have to be a certain way, but still get my message across so that I can have the door open for other people. But we really have to check our emotions at the door before we walk in that door, because you don't know where the opportunity lies. And that's how the devil cuts us off, is throwing those type of daggers at you, knowing you're going to react. And boom, you don't have that opportunity no more.
Yep, exactly. So now you're sitting in this meeting. She's talking to you crazy. She's berating you. And I like what you said. You said all the cussing, all of the racial slurs and everything else she said. All you heard was, there's money for my people, for people like me.
Like me. So that's what I need to find, is that money that woman was talking about. And so that's right. What I started to do. I started to be on my business about finding this money that she was talking about. And finally, I got to that money. And what that money was economically and socially disadvantaged individuals or people of color. I said, oh, that's me all day long. I'm socially, I'm economically, I am disadvantaged. Yes, yes, and yes. And I started to go through that process. I was advised I had to write a business plan. Never wrote a business plan before. Mind you, I don't know if I already said this or not, but we're talking about this is a young lady. I was 26 years old at the time. I had a GED education. Okay. So, every single reason why I could not do it, I had at my table. I mean, every single reason why. But one thing I will say is my grandmother said that if I can read, I can do anything. And so I was researching, reading, using these phones, right? Looking up stuff, doing, just understanding. And then I kept asking, just because somebody tells you no, there is a yes around the corner. But a lot of times when we hear no a couple of times, we give up. We can't not give up. We have to keep going. And so I got so many no's that even to the point where I walked into one Black woman's office asking for help with the business plan. I had my son with me. She told me that I was unprofessional for bringing my son to the meeting. She then told me, because I had to explain to her why, right? I don't have family. I don't, my mother-in-law has cancer. She's going through chemo. She can't be around a newborn baby. I don't have anyone to take care of my son. And on top of that, I'm a breastfeeding mother. She told me that was absolutely nasty, got up, opened up the door, and told me to leave. And from that point, it was just like, that really hurt me. And so I remember being in her waiting room, gathering my stuff together and seeing free literature. A lot of times, are you picking up literature as you're going to different office spaces, or, you're talking to people? You don't know where your information is going to lie. And that particular booklet that was free in her office had a business plan template.
Wow.
So what if I did not go to the meeting? What if I, left out all emotional and just slammed the door and, whatever? No, but I had to gather my stuff, and I'm looking, because I made it a habit of every meeting that I went to try to ask for help. All of the different free places that you would go to, I would collect all their literature. So I would go home and I would read about just different things, what was happening with SBA or what was happening with whatever. And even if I didn't understand a word, I would pull out that dictionary, look up the words, understand other words that I'm used to using that would also mean that same word. Like, I studied this thing, that's what I did during that time.
So what I'm hearing is that you had a mountain-size amount of challenges.
Yes.
But what I'm hearing is that nothing stopped you. Like, nothing ever became an excuse. You pushed through whatever, and that's an important key to being successful, is that you don't have to have all the resources in the world, but whatever you have in your hand. God asked Moses when he was standing in front of the Red Sea, what do you have in your hand? You have to ask yourself, I don't have financing, I don't have this, I don't have that, but what do I have? Leverage what you have, and if all you have is the ability to do research, then leverage that to the fullness. Now, I want the listeners to understand what's happening in this story. This Jewish couple is selling their business. They have pushed her to buy their business. So she's now trying to get financing to purchase this business, her first business. She's 26 years old. And the thing that I like about this is that fusion is where faith and business merge. So this is faith. You're operating on faith.
Without even knowing about faith, not even understanding. I mean, I remember writing out Bible scriptures, like literally all kind of scriptures that talked about faith. And I put it on a butcher, those butcher paper that you would have. I put all of these scriptures on a butcher paper and I put it in my dining room wall. so that I could see what, because I mean, like, I'm starting to get to know God, and I'm starting to, see what this God is all about and what he's talking about and everything. And
she said what he talking about and everything.
What he's talking about, And so I remember, like literally standing in front of this wall and just like reciting these scriptures, like talking to myself, because it was like, Nicole, this here is like, girl, you crazy, throughout the entire thing. But it was like, nah, but God said that he can help me through this process, that I don't have to depend on my smarts. It's him that's going to give me the ability to get wealth. It's not me that is doing this. He's the one that said that I can do all things because he's going to strengthen me. And I'm like, dude, I need your strength because I don't know what I'm doing. Right. And so it was that kind of relationship with God, with me and God at the beginning. And I didn't even understand what faith is. Faith was, I just did not even really get it. But I knew that if the opportunity came, that something is there. It's like, like I have a dog and he's over in the corner and I could be on the other side of the room, but I can smell something. I know what he done did.
Yeah.
That's how opportunity is. If you can smell it, something's there. But a lot of times we're lazy. We don't want to work through it. But I have this, later I started to understand what was my drive, what really took me there. And what it was I weighed my current situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
My $780 EBT card, which was balling. Okay. Not having money, not having XYZ, right? Going through all what I've gone through in my entire life. And I got this in my hand. Then I got in this hand, this opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm sorry. It's hard. It's hard work being poor. Mm-hmm. It's very difficult being poor. It's very heart aching, grinding, smelly, irritating, frustrating, depressing to be poor, right? So that's right. And now you're saying that I have this opportunity, and me doing some research and going to these appointments and dealing with people or whatever, and you're saying that this is hard. So I always weigh stuff, and even then I weighed the situation like, which one is harder? Being broke versus the situation, like me being able to possibly have something and having to go through hoops. A lot of people complain, oh, those are so many hoops I gotta go through. Why I gotta go through all that? It's a lot of hoops when you had to fill out that welfare booklet back in the day, them 82-page booklet, and you got to sit there and talk to this woman about your private, information. Which one is harder? So I always looked at, it's being broke is hard. So anything outside of being broke is easy.
Yeah, I love it. So look how God met you. You went to this lady for help to write your business plan.
Yeah.
She's rude to you. She kicks you out of her office. And as you're in the lobby or the waiting area, you stumble up on some literature that is a business plan template.
Yeah. And
that's God.
It was so God, again, providing the provision, right? God, he met me right there. And so now I go home and I start writing this business plan, right? And in writing this business plan, when I tell you now I write business plans for a living, man, it was the most juvenile business plan I have ever seen in my entire life, right? But along with the business plan, but what I loved about it is that it was no fluff. So it was straight to the point. But along with your business plan, you have to have projected financials. Joe, I didn't even know how to spell the word projected financials, much less understand what that was. And so, I found another resource that for $250, I was able to pay for these projections. I had to take what we had in the house and take it to the pawn shop to get the $250 to pay for it. So, again, like the only way that I stop, and even now, the only way that I stop doing something is if there is no solution to the problem. Like, but if there's a solution to the problem, then let's take that solution. So if the solution was, hey, I don't have $250, the solution is, oh, I could pawn such and such. Let's take the TV down, let's take this stuff, and let's go get this $250. I mean, it to me, it wasn't rocket science.
So what was your husband at the time? What was he saying while you going through all of this?
So I'm trying to be a good human being right now. I'm trying to be a good Christian, Joe. So he was going along with it, but he wasn't doing anything to help. So he was like, hey, if it goes, fantastic. If it don't, hey, so he didn't participate. He wasn't excited. He wasn't anything. Because again, here I am going through this process and he having to go to work there every day. So he's like, I'm not about to be all excited and thinking I'm going to own something that I'm having to work in every day. So, and that's a whole nother mindset because, here I am, I'm now a new Christian and I got him to, come on, honey, let's go to church. And he done got baptized and I done got baptized. And now he got to stop selling dope. And he mad at me because he got to stop selling dope. And because God don't want you to be selling dope. And there's a lot going on in that house right there. So, he's like, the reason why we poor is because you making me stop selling dope because you want to love the Lord. So there's just a lot going on. It was just a lot. It was a lot going on in that household right there. So but again, it was like that wasn't stopping me. Because it was like, okay, no worries. I mean, I'm already doing a lot anyway. I'm taking his mother to all her chemotherapy appointments. I'm taking the children there. I'm doing this. So one more thing added wasn't a big deal.
Right. So you go to the pawn shop, you get your projected financials, you finish your business plan. What happens from there?
I got to plug in my computer because you talking good, Joe. You talking good. I'm like, oh, Lord, you done talk my computer down. About to talk my computer off.
Yeah. Plug your computer up.
Because I forgot we do get to talking like this.
Yeah.
So, I did forget. I forgot, Joe. So,
but that's a funny thing right there. Like your husband, he mad because he got to stop selling drugs and go work at the business that you're trying to buy. That's funny.
He was mad. I mean, he was mad. Like, and that's a whole nother conversation because there's still some madness there, but it's okay. It's the Lord's saints. Praise Him. Praise Him.
Right. So you turn in the business plan. What happens from there, or what do you do with the business plan?
So I got these financials, right? I don't even know what they say. The lady gave me these numbers. She said, here, put it with your plan, submit it. And she left from Detroit, moved to Texas, never heard from her, couldn't call her no more, nothing, right? So I'm really out here. And I put him out there. Somebody just said, did you put him out there like that? Yeah, I did. He know it, though. Shoot, he know it. Oh, well. So, and I'm being really nice, quiet as it's kept. But anywho, so I submitted to funders, which are called CDFI, Community Development Financial Institutions. There are these CDFIs all over the United States. Every single urban city has several of them that are there just to help people start business, purchase homes, do development in that particular area who typically would not be able to get traditional financing when they go into a bank or other institutions. So
say that again.
So every so it's community development financial institutions. You can even Google community development financial institutions online with your city, and it will show all of those community partners that could do whatever that you need to do. If you're looking to buy a house, there are literally these institutions that have dollars waiting for you to be able to purchase a house, down payment assistance. There are institutions waiting to be able to help you start your business or grow your business. So they're out there. The issue is we're not connecting with them.
Got it.
So I'm sorry, go ahead. No, so I went in with my business plan, my projections, and gave them my pitch, whatever, very juvenile that it was, with my baby on my hip, and they loved it. They loved the idea that, hey, here's this Black young girl, young woman with a family that is now going to be a national franchise owner. But so they said, okay, that's great. We'll do it, but we need two things. They said we need collateral and we need the approval of the franchise. So I had to go get the approval of the franchise. They laughed at me and was like, okay, if you could do it, go ahead. So I got that approval, and the only I love this part. The only collateral that we had was some jewelry that my ex-husband had of his old lifestyle. And that was what we took in. And that came in a dream. God gave me a dream of Dallas. I went to sleep and it was like I was in the soap opera Dallas or whatever. I never even watched Dallas growing up, but I woke up, I was in this dream and I kept holding my jewelry and I kept saying, oh, I need to take my jewelry to the bank. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Get the jewelry out of the safe. So it really was, again, like seeing that God downloads into us. And a lot of times while we're sleeping, that's our direct connect, just like how I just had to plug in, right? I just had to plug my computer into the outlet. God plugs into us in our through dreams while we're sleeping. And so while we're connecting in that time with him, he's able to download. You know, it's one thing God had shared with me is, he has really given me my heart's desire. You know, the word says that he'll give you your heart's desire. Well, he's given that to me. But now my new prayer is I want God's heart's desire for me. Because that is it will blow my mind on what he wants from me, and how he does that is through our dream. So he gave me that dream, called the bank, said, hey, I got this jewelry. They laughed at me. They said, bring it in. It was like 10 carats of diamonds. And I brought it in and they took that as collateral. And and on top of that, the bid was like originally $250,000. They lowered it to $150,000, and then they lowered it again to $78,000. So here you're purchasing a franchise for $78,000. And I remember sitting there writing that check. And that was the largest check I had ever written in my life, after being approved for the loan, which then the funder said that I had the worst credit score that they had ever seen. I had a 428 428 credit score. So
wait, stop it. Wait. Stop the presses. First of all, that's why I wanted you on here. If people didn't hear this from your mouth, nobody would believe this story.
No, I halfway done.
You was there, huh?
I'm there.
You went and got a business loan with a juvenile business plan with financial projections that you purchased from somebody by pawning stuff from around your house. You had to get approval from the franchise owner and the corporate franchisee.
Yeah.
And they laughed at you and said, okay, go ahead, but we need collateral. You took jewelry that your husband...
The bank needed the collateral.
The bank needed the collateral. Thank you. You took jewelry from your husband's drug dealing days as the collateral.
Yeah.
With a 428 credit score.
Yeah.
And got a loan for $78,000 to purchase his business.
Yeah.
Incredible. God is amazing. Wow.
Only God. But one thing I will say is, I'm not a respected person, right? So if he did it for me, he'll do it over and over and over again. And I have seen it over and over and over again. And that's how incredible he is, because he will blow your mind if you allow him to. And mind you, remember, I'm in the situation where I was just getting to know him. I was like, dude, who is this Jesus dude? And so even if I could just fast forward just a tiny bit here, part of the franchise agreement is that I had to go through dealer training. But remember, we only had one car, and I was taking the mother-in-law to her appointments, which then at this point she went back to work. So she's doing work and appointments. So I couldn't use her car. They were in Toledo. So how are we going to get there? And so this is funny. So I would go to the door with my children's goggles on. Y'all better not laugh at me, because I feel like y'all about to start laughing at me. I swear to God. Y'all start laughing at me, I'm going to click off in here. Y'all better not laugh. I would go to the door with my goggles on and my beaver full-length coat. You know, I thought I was fine. Don't be talking about me. And I would stand there every morning and I would look out the door. Like I would literally stand outside and I would say, God, if you brought an angel to my doorstep to take me back and forth to Toledo, I believe that you would. And I'm ready. So in my mind, I would be on the back of an angel with my fur coat, because I would think in the elevation of, flying, that it would be cold. And then I didn't want no bugs flying in my eyes and everything. I'm sensitive in my eyeballs. So, I was prepared.
So that's what the goggles were for.
That was what the goggles was for. I didn't want no bugs. But I had my fur coat because I was like, I'm going to be cold on the angel's back. And I didn't want to be cold. So, again, but that was showing my level of commitment to whatever God brought to my table. And so let me tell you what he did. Now, this is hilarious. He put it on my ex-husband's baby mama to rent a car for me to go back and forth to Toledo.
Wow.
Now, dang well that wasn't nothing but God.
Yeah. Usually baby mamas and wives be fist fighting and stuff.
Right. And we normally would have. Somehow, only God, she did that.
Oh, so y'all wasn't cool like that?
No, we weren't cool like that. We didn't even talk.
So God will he'll command your enemies to bless you.
Come on.
Wow. And
so that's how I got there and start going back and forth to that dealer meeting, because I have to be there every day for the dealer training. And then to get there and be told, oh, we don't do Detroit anyway because y'all ain't nothing but some bottom feeders. All y'all do is put 20s, 50s on your cars and get all that. Yeah, we get all this money from y'all, this and that. That's why we pulled out of Detroit anyway, because y'all are bottom feeders. You're not y'all not my target market anyway. So that's why we let y'all have it.
Wow.
So there's going to be a lot of naysayers. There's going to be a lot of people that's going to tell you no, that they're going to laugh in your face. They're going to, they're just going to be them. But what's going to stop you? Again, I got to weigh it. It's easier to hear all of that than be broke. It's a lot easier. And, we started in the shop. It was like, bam, now it's ours. And then that was another mindset shifting issue, because now going from being a business owner, from like being stupid broke to like then making like 50 grand a month, that's a whole nother mindset shift, right? It's a whole nother, thought process when you're used to getting money, but you're not used to getting money on that level. And then you feel like, hey, shoot, I'm still like a dope dealer or whatever. I'm still like, it's still that mindset. It's still the mindset that I'm still on welfare. It's still the mindset that I can't even explain it. Like money does not solve mindset issues. Money does not solve poverty mindset issues. You have to physically work on it.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? You said something that's so key, and I say this all the time, that professional athletes, lottery winners, drug dealers, people like that, they prove every day that money is not the solution to poverty, because they have money, but they still have a poverty mindset. So eventually, when the money runs out, they're going to revert back to where they started from. So you have to change your mindset first. The mindset comes first, actually. Now, sometimes, like in your case, you get to do it out of turn, meaning you got the money, but you were still wrestling with the poverty mindset.
It was still there. With the money, it was still there. So, okay, you have this money. We sitting there taking pictures of it, right? I mean, like, we were going out to eat every day. We were that consumer mindset. We were just consuming stuff, but it still wasn't like, oh, we about to go shopping at Somerset. We're like still at Burlington buying stuff. Who did that? Still, it was still as though I didn't have any money, yet I had all this money. It didn't matter.
Yes. Now, so now you got this business, and I don't know if you want me to tell this part. I want to tell this part so bad. Is it okay if I tell the part about
what part you talking about? So don't tell it. It's what it is.
The running. Okay, so one thing that you told me that stuck out when you talk about the poverty mindset, and this is a sidebar, is that you told me that your ex-husband, when you guys start making this kind of money, he wanted people to think he was back in the drug game.
Yes.
So he's riding around.
Yep. He was still creating the persona that, that this is who I am. So he never separated himself from what he was. And, and I don't want to, I really am not dogging him out, because I'm just using him as an example, because believe me, I have my own issues. Like, I can point the finger at him, but believe me, there are 4 other fingers pointing back at me. But it was both of us the reason why our business was not successful. Now, I mean, we made probably about $4 million during that heyday. And, people always throw up numbers, and I laugh at it. People always say, oh yeah, I made 2.8 million. But what was your net profit? Like, what was your profit of that? Because you could spend 2.8 million. That don't mean nothing. What did you bring home? And we spent it. I mean, and when I tell you what did we spend it on, I can't even tell you. Like, I don't have a clue. And that's the part that was the learning. So when we talk about failure, failure is not a horrible thing. We made it a horrible thing because our parents, grandparents, aunties, uncles used to beat us because we got in trouble for getting an F on our report card. But no one ever asked us, well, did you learn something? And maybe you just didn't get it, and that's why you got an F.
Right.
So, especially in our culture, we're taught that if you fail, you're like horrible. You're a horrible individual versus, no, my failures was a lesson. It allowed me to come up. It allowed me to take it to another level. Like, that's what true failure is. Like, it's a blessing to fail. It's a blessing to learn from it. Because where I am now, I understand that I'm a money magnet. I understand that it doesn't matter what I do, I'm going to make money. It does not matter where I'm at, I'm going to make money. It does not matter what entities that I may have, I'm going to generate revenue. So as I'm generating revenue, I understand it's not about the business, it's me. I have the power. God has given me the power to get wealth. He gave me the power to get wealth. And we look at it that it's an outside thing. It's like this pen. This pen is outside, right? I'm trying to give it to you, right? But in all actuality, it's not something that's outside of us. It's already within us. And that was, I think, the lessons that I learned personally. So I was able to go from one business, leave the husband, side note, go into another, start another business, right? Well, I started another business, then left them, right? But I see, like, and then now I'm starting another business and I have another entity, and like I can see right now, and this is something I'm currently learning. This ain't something like I already got it. We're talking about, this is me meeting with a mindset coach every week to discuss this. Me going through my emotions about poverty, me understanding that the same girl who would take the bus with her baby at 15 years old on the corner of Finkel and Wyoming is the same, has that same tenacity in this 40-year-old woman today. And because of what she put up with and what she dealt with, I am stronger today. I am the woman that I am today. And I'm able then now to make certain that all of the hell, can I say that? All of the hell that girl went through was worth it.
Yeah. And so it's very interesting. Now this is something you said to me that I thought that was so interesting. Now I'm gonna just put her and her husband business out there a little bit. Now I've seen their, they just moved to Atlanta, but when they were planted here, I saw their house. They had a big, beautiful house in a gated community off the water, Lexus trucks and all of that kind of stuff. You even told me one time your budget for the Ferragamo store was about $40,000 a year or something like that. You would spend in the Ferragamo store, the best of everything. But even in that, you still struggle with that old mindset. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Dude, OMG, because I am just, I like currently in this moment right now, things are clicking for me. Okay. And so just being very transparent, and I'm transparent because I want people to learn. I want people to know that they're not alone in their thinking. I want them to know they don't have to be embarrassed about anything. Right. So that's why I'm so transparent. But what is clicking for me currently, Joe, like this is current, like right now, today, is in the buying, in the cars, in the Louis Vuittons, and having personal shoppers here and there, and going on trips and doing all of that, I was still feeding the poverty mindset. I'm not dogging nobody out who rocking Louis. I'm not dogging nobody out rocking Gucci. Like, the closet's still filled with everything, right?
Right.
I ain't giving up.
Yeah,
Okay. But in this season, God has elevated me to understand that He has allowed me to do it once, right? He has allowed me to now do it a second time. Now He's allowing me to do it a third time. So here we've done millions. We've done millions again. Now I'm going on my third track of millions. And He said, now I want you to understand this, is that I need for you to be a good steward of what I've given you. Now, I'm not saying that it wasn't being a good steward for me purchasing stuff, because that was a lesson that I had to learn through that. That was me loving myself. That was me giving myself some stuff that I've never had in life. That was me experiencing going places. I mean, I've been to Thailand. I've gone, and done things that I've never done before, right? So that was yet another learning lesson. But now in this season, see, in life, we're given seasons. And my husband preached a fantastic sermon about seasons. And in this season of my life, he's calling me to be a good steward. And so he's telling me, he's convincing me of, what now I need to do in this season in order to set up then my next season. So now, because I'm 40, I was in my 20s and 30s. Yeah, I'm blowing money, whatever. But now I'm 40. He's like, I want you to set up for your 50s and for your 60s. I want you to line it up in that manner. I want to give you those tools. I want to give you those resources. I want to give you those dreams that will lay you out. I want to give you the dreams that you will be able to build that legacy, that you will be able to really receive what I have for you. So again, going back, like you said, okay, the Lexus, I did the vision boards and got everything on my vision board. God blessed me with it, right? He gave me my heart's desires. But now He's showing me, I sprinkled that on you, honey, right? It's just like a little sprinkle. When you think of that, it was just a sprinkle that God did. He's like, okay, honey, here's a sprinkle, just to, make you feel good about yourself, that I gave you your heart's desires, true. But now I want to give you my heart's desires for you.
Yes. This is good stuff. And now, everybody, I want y'all to know, number one, the show is supposed to be an hour, but this is so good. We've gone over, and I really wanted you all to hear the details, the down and dirty details of her story, because it's so amazing and phenomenal. And now, Dr. Farmer, this is my business coach. And then I don't know if you heard her say it earlier, but she has a business coach. You have to align yourself with people who are doing better than you.
Joe, if I could interrupt you, I have a mindset coach. I have a business coach who's out in Sri Lanka. I have a life coach. I have a strategy coach. So I have multiple people feeding into me. It's not just one or this. I have multiple people that are feeding into me. Then on top of that, then I have mentors. And, then I have individuals who are around me that then I want to then become. So I'm constantly feeding myself of what I want my next level to be. My mentors have sold their company 2 different times for $250 million. My mentors have, created platforms that have done amazingly well. Like, these are my mentors. So it's, you have to surround yourself with people who are where you want to be.
Yes. And that requires humility. Sometimes one of our issues is we think we know everything, And, our egos want us to, we want to act like we know it. And instead of understanding that, it doesn't take anything away from you to admit that there's some things we just don't know. And if there's somewhere that you're trying to go that you've never been before, you have to submit yourself to somebody who's been there before. And you have to take heed to what they have to say, and I mean, sometimes when you and I, meet, you cut into me and, tell me what I need to be doing and what I need to change and what I need to work on. And sometimes it's like, man, I don't feel like, doing that, you know what I'm saying? But that's what it's all about. And so that's a very important nugget.
And so we got on this. As soon as you clicked on and I'm getting myself situated, I'm asking you, hey, did you do this? Hey, did you do that? Hey, what about this? Like I want you to be better. I want you to be better than where you are, because I understand what your why is. And everybody needs to understand what is their why. Our why is bigger than us. It's bigger than where we are today and currently. I mean, your why is what is driving you to still be on this call, this whole, you created this platform. It's because of your why. But a lot of times we don't know what our why is. We've never thought about it, and so I just challenge all of the viewers and the listeners right now to write a bucket list with at least 100 things on it and detail it for your business, for your social, right? For hobbies, for your travel, for your financial areas, for your marriage or for your relationship, for your friendships, like all of the areas that mean something to you. I really challenge them to write a bucket list. How do you know where you're going if you're not writing a vision and making it plain constantly?
Yeah. You just said something, and I want to touch on it. And we're going to rewind a little bit. Back when you were in poverty, and then you made the transition into being an entrepreneur, what were your friends like? Did your friends change? The people you kicked it with, your girlfriends and all that? Can you talk a little bit about that?
So one of my very, very best friend, I had to break up with her, literally. And that was one of the hardest decisions I had to make, because, I mean, when I was going through, she was going through, we had each other's backs. I have, sat at her house and she has fed me. She's gone through what she's gone through, and I gave her money or whatever. And whatever I had, I gave to her. Whatever she had, she gave to me. So we've always had each other's backs. But here I am having the conversation of, hey, my business is doing XYZ. And she'll be like, girl, it's going to be okay. But you know what? This dude I'm trying to get with, he ain't get my nails done today. And I don't understand. I just asked him for $40 and I don't get this. And I'm like, girl, I'm sitting here trying to cry about the fact that, I couldn't do XYZ and I don't know if I can make it. And I'm scared of this. And you sitting there talking about your hairdo, or, and so it was heart-wrenching. But I had to finally say, okay, enough is enough, because I need to have friends. And there were several that I let go. And it wasn't until just recently that I started to have conversations again with a few of my old friends. And they understood why. And they had to start to work their way up. And one of my good friends right now, she's constantly calling me and she's like, Nicole, I just want to learn. I just want to learn from you. And so I've been just doing different things, like being a life coach and, as I am, and some other things just to broaden her mindset. And it's working, she's open to it, but she would tell me, she's like, I knew that this was always in you. You just didn't know. And so me sitting there now having these discussions with her, I also had to understand that even in letting people go, you have to understand why you're letting people go. And sometimes you gotta kind of check yourself. Do you feel like, you better than somebody? Do you feel like, oh, well, they beneath me or whatever? Because I had to see that I was making that decision as well. Okay, so it wasn't just that person was maybe a bad influence on me or whatever. There were situations that I felt like that person was beneath me, or I didn't really have anything in common with that person, versus sharing and loving people where they are and being that example in their life as well. So it's a two-edged sword when you're looking at that. You really have to be humble. And what God has been doing in my life has really been humbling me, because he's been changing things like drastically, and it's making me have to be humble. I had to see myself that, hey, you was being a little funny acting there. I had to look, and that's the part of that mindset shifting, because pride is a sickness.
Say that again.
Poverty is a sickness. It's an illness. So you're having to constantly treat it. And so in treating it, you're having to constantly dive deeper within yourself. You're having to constantly connect with you on a different level so that you can start to peel those layers back and to really see yourself on a different level. You're going to constantly change every single day, because you aren't the same person as you were an hour ago, last week, last month. You're not the same person. So you have to dig in. But this is the question that I pose to you as well as your viewers and listeners is, are you making decisions as yourself today? So like for me, am I making decisions as my 40-year-old Dr. Nicole Farmer? Or am I making decisions as the 40-year-old Dr. Nicole Farmer, formerly known as the teenage mother at 14 years old?
Right. Yes.
How are you filtering in the information that you are receiving? Are you filtering that information and answering it as the 14-year-old who went through the stuff that you went through, as the 8-year-old who may have been molested, as the 5-year-old who was taken away from your father, from your mother? Are you making today's decisions off of the emotions that you had in your earlier life? See, a lot of times we've not gone through that stuff and again, peel back those layers to find your true, genuine self as today, and then now basing and making decisions for today with the today person. And I started to see, as I pull back those layers, that I was making decisions today as I was as the 14-year-old girl. I was still making decisions as the 18-year-old who got married and who was physically abused. I was still making decisions. So making that decision with that mind was not allowing me to walk into the fullness of what God has for me. And so I'm not saying I'm healed. Let's say that. I'm not, will I be healed? I'm praying in Jesus' name I'll get full deliverance. But I also have to have, that faith without works. I can have faith for full healing, but if I don't do the work in it, then where are we meeting? I can't meet God where he's at with the faith. I have to do the work. And so that's what I've been committed to constantly, is doing that work and healing from that poverty illness, illness, because it is sickness. And it's a plague. Just like we're going through a plague, just like we're going through a crisis right now, poverty is the same way, but no one has really been paying attention to it for 100 years.
And that's one of the things that I wanted people to get, is that there may have been, let's say, for example, you got a person who's middle class, and they don't believe that they have a poverty mindset because they're living a middle class lifestyle. Right. But they may have had the mindset of poverty handed down to them by a parent or a grandparent, or how they were raised, or their value system, or their belief
Yeah.
system about money, or their belief system about wealthy people. All
Yeah.
of these things are symptoms of the poverty mindset, that even though you may not be in poverty, and even if you were, because I wasn't necessarily raised in poverty, I was raised pretty middle class. My parents were doing pretty well for themselves, but they came from poverty before they started doing well. You know, they were from down south and grew up through Jim Crow and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So they came from poverty. And so even once they started doing well, there was things, their viewpoints about money and life and things of that nature. Some of it was instilled in me, and I had to realize it. And what you just said is so important. We have to examine why we are the way we are. We know how we are, but you have to, why do I think like this? Where did this viewpoint come from? Where did this ideal come from?
Did that come from daddy saying XYZ, saying, boy, you better go get that education. Ain't nobody gonna give you nothing. You better work 30 years and out. You know, it's those type of discussions that we had in our households. You know, another thing, like why I'm so transparent, is because it was in my household that whatever's going on in this house is going to stay in this house. You better not tell nobody your business. You better not show nobody that, because then now they got something over you. You know, it's all of those things that have crafted our thinking. Now you got to start to break that thing down so that you can develop your own mindset, your own thinking of how you want to be. So, you know, even give you the example of, you know, the way that I raised my son, my oldest son, who's 25, versus my, you know, Sebastian, who's now 14. It's like night and day. You know, Sebastian goes to a very fantastic private school. He gets, you know, he has that kind of education. He is around wealthy people. All he sees is that type of lifestyle. He's been going in inside banks and meetings from the time he was born, right? So that's all he knows. He doesn't know poverty, right, at all. But also, I had to start to frame the way that I talk and the way that I walk and everything, and who I decided to be with when I said, okay, God, I'm ready to be married again. Like all of that was framed around a different mindset of what I deserve, and then what also does my son deserve, versus, you know, my oldest, who is still going through a hard time in life because of that mindset, because of what we've gone through in poverty, and that mindset is still there. And when you think about wherever that you were between the ages of 8 and 12 is what frames you as an adult. And now to start to work that out of your system in a sense. So I see that. What did he go through from that age? He went through a lot. And it was funny. I was talking to him today, and I said, he's thinking about getting an apartment or getting a house or whatever with his stepbrother. And I said, okay, cool. I said, well, that would give me the opportunity, if you guys will let me, to re-raise you. And he laughed, and he was like, yeah. He was like, yeah, I know you tried before, but I'm ready now. So he even knows that, hey, mom wasn't even in the mindset, in the frame of mind to be raising me. She did the best that she could. I mean, this was a little girl. I always have the joke that, you know, you too young when you to have a baby when you both go to a pediatrician to get seen. Okay, you done had a baby too young when y'all both seeing the same pediatrician, right? So I'm like, you know, we both raised each other here. So, you know, but now he saw his mother grow, right? He literally have seen his mother develop into a beautiful butterfly, right? This beautiful, awesome creature right before his eyes. And so now he's like, yeah, I'll let you re-raise me. I'm ready. And that's that mindset. He's ready to shift. He's ready to have these discussions. That he was like, Mom, remember you told me to go buy some Bitcoin? I bought some Bitcoin. I finally logged back in, and it's $500 in there. I didn't even know.
Yeah.
It's those type of things that creep up, and it's like, oh wow, my mama was right. Oh wow, but can you be that for your children? Can you be that even for your adult children? That's the question, because we're going to be constantly evolving. But now, can you still connect and still show them your growth and be transparent? Can you apologize to your children for what you have done? I had to apologize. I had to repent for the way that I was very harsh and cussing my son out and talking down to him because that was how I was talked to. I had to apologize. I was wrong. I'm wrong for doing that. Can we apologize to our children for what we have done so that now we can build a different relationship than what we had with our parents?
Yes. Yes. This is good stuff. You just touched on something. I was going to go to the last question, but then you touched on something else. See, this is how we end up.
See, this is what happened. And honestly, I think the last time we got together, weren't we together for like 4 hours? We ended up having lunch. And then
at the Detroit Club.
Yeah. And then we're sitting on a patio enjoying the seenery. And it's 4 hours later. And we're like, I finally had to say, okay, Joe, we got to go. We for real got to go. We're about to get into downtown traffic. I mean, so believe me, guys, you're only getting a pinky finger of really our interaction.
Yes, yes. So you touched on something, and I want to get your take on it. How, because of Black people and our history in this country and the things we've been through, how we were brought here, what we've endured since we've been here, and what we even yet endure to this day. It seems like to me like sometimes we as a people, we struggle with success. So it's almost like we're so used to struggle. We're so used to surviving. We're so used to being in a certain place that even once we get elevated out of this place, it's almost like we don't know what to do. It's almost like you feel guilty not being ghetto, or you feel guilty taking your kids out of the neighborhood, or you feel guilty, you know what I mean? Like that thing where it's almost like you feel like your identity is at stake because your whole identity up to the point of success has been steeped in struggle. So what to do now that I don't have to struggle anymore? Like, this is weird. Can you talk about that?
Well, see, that goes back to my point of you have not created your own identity for yourself.
Yeah.
You're basing your identity on what someone else told you what success was. You based your, for instance, giving you a good example. I thought that, and somewhat I still do, but whatever. But I really thought that success was me buying a St. John outfit and a pearl necklace. Like, I would be success. Like, that is the epitome of success. People will respect me. I have my pearls on. Like, that will make me ladylike. And I would, try to form my words a certain way and walk a certain way and talk a certain way and be a certain way. And I had to understand that was what I identified what other people thought success was. And I had to create what my own definition of success was and what my own identity is and be comfortable in that skin. Right. And so, when going back to growing up, we're taught a lot of times that this is what success looks like. And, you're not successful unless you bought your house by a certain age. And if you do X, Y, and Z, and, but what is your definition of success? And so yet another challenge for your listeners and your viewers, define success. What does success look like to you? What does that smell like to you? What does that taste like? What does that feel like to you? Really journaling that and describing it in a present tense as though you already have it. Not if what if, coulda, shoulda, woulda. But no, I currently have, like, this is what I feel, it smells, this is what I am, right? This is what this is. Because it's like you
Yes.
said earlier, it's not about like how much money I have, it's not about materialistic things, but it's about the wealth that's within us and really identifying that. And so what I learned about me is, yeah, I didn't want to live in the suburbs. I like living in Detroit because I liked it, not because of any other reason, but I really liked it. Even though all my other family members moved out in the suburbs, that was great for them. I like Detroit, right? And I wanted to be on the water, so I was on the water, right? God allowed that to happen. Believe me, it wasn't me; it was God. But I did want my son to go to private school because I wanted him to get that type of education, right? But then now, this is about to be a heavy one. In my marriage, God had to show me it's not about me. I'm not the only player in this marriage, that there is another human being there that God has anointed, that God has instructed for, and has given a vision for him to have as well.
Yes.
Okay, so that's a whole now that's a whole nother 2-hour conversation, because because sometimes as a wife, I'm just gonna speak for me. I was being selfish because I'm like, it's all about me. I'm so cute. I'm the wife. I get everything. I'm gonna spend your money and my money too. Like that was, again, that was what was fed to me. That was what I felt like the definition of success of a marriage was. And God had to show me, no, boo, boo. This is what I need for you to understand and do, that I have anointed and have created for him to do some stuff. And now you need to go and be with him. And now that's where we're transitioning into, and now in Atlanta now, because God has ordained for him to do some stuff. And in that, because now coming together as one, right, it's not just about me, it's about us, it's about him as well, and his dreams and what he desires in his life. I'm starting to see a whole nother layer being pulled back, a whole nother layer that is being able to I'm learning about myself, and I'm loving myself, or whatever. So really understand and define what success is in every single area of your life, because then you're able to speak to what you really, again, it goes back to what the word says, write the vision, make it plain. How do you know what the success is? And so I'm not going to beat myself up because, hey, this is who I am. I'm very transparent. I kind of talk a little ratchet, a little bit. And what you see is what you get. I don't care where I'm at. I'm not trying to clean it up for anyone. I'm not trying to talk white. I'm not trying to be something that I'm not. This is who I am. So the way that I talk, the way that I walk, the way that I go into a boardroom and be this way, of course, loving, kind, caring, and considerate. But I'm still going to crack these same kind of jokes. I'm still going to talk about my EBT card that has $780 on it. It sounds like I kind of missed it a little bit, but I'm just saying, like, I'm going to have all these same discussions. I'm going to crack jokes. I'm going to be funny. I'm going to be light, because that's me. And I love me. I'm in love with me, finally, in my life.
Yes, that's good. That's good. And that's shout out to Bishop Farmer. Amen.
Bishop Farmer.
That's good stuff. Good stuff. Now, y'all, that don't mean when you get your mansion, you gonna barbecue on the front porch. Now, don't do
that, please.
Put it.
Please don't put the stove in the refrigerator. No, not the refrigerator. The refrigerator, because I'm from the east side. The refrigerator on the front porch. Please don't do what I did. Put the refrigerator in the garage. You balling when you got the refrigerator in the garage. Don't put it on the front porch no more. You gotta level up, boo. You gotta level up. You gotta upgrade.
Yeah. And it's listen, guys. There's nothing wrong with evolving. There's nothing wrong with, there's a fine line and there's a balance between maintaining who you are, maintaining your identity, but evolving in the areas and growing in the areas that will cause you to have new opportunities and take advantage of those. So now I want to talk a little bit about now here's the good news, guys, is that Dr. Farmer, as I stated, is my business coach, and she has a company. Can you tell us a little bit about your company and your coaching services? And
Yes.
I'm an entrepreneur, and I come to you. What can you do for me?
Right. So I can help you bring your dreams into reality. That is what I do. And just recently, I've been coined the money lady. That's a whole nother story, right? But I love it. And so I have my own, amongst multiple entities that I have a nonprofit, I have a for-profit, but I also have just a private coaching business, Dr. Nicole S. Farmer. You could go onto the website, drnicolesfarmer.com, learn all type of things about me and everything. And Joe, you know what I normally do. I dig down deep in what the idea is or where your business is currently. I create a timeline and a roadmap to get you to where you're trying to go. And then I'm there to help you through that process with whatever resources, finding you money, and whatever else that you may need through that time frame.
So she's your own personal Shark Tank. Now, and the reason why I say that is because she's going to ask you the tough questions. If you ever watch Shark Tank, she gets deep.
I'm gonna love you through it, though. I'm not gonna just throw you out there. I'm gonna love you through it.
Right. So I'm gonna put her email address up here. If you want to reach out to Dr. Farmer and hear about and touch base with her, go on her website as well. And then now you said that you had a little special going on. Now tell us about the special.
Hold on, because you know what my fees are.
Yes.
He's like, yes. Okay. But for COVID-19, as well as for your listeners, okay, I have not told nobody this. Okay. No, this is just being released on your show, on your platform. I thought about you and COVID-19 and what all we're doing, and everything's kind of virtual and people are feeling stuck and everything, both in their personal life as well as their business. And so I got this deal, and it's like a dream come true for some folks, because I know I'm going to get blown up. Like, people are going to have multiple time slots on my calendar because of this deal. But for $40 for 1 hour, you can get the business doctor, myself, Dr. Nicole Farmer. $40.
Only $40.
You know how much my fees are.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, like, typically 1 hour, you looking easily at $200, $250. But because of where we're at, and I really want to give back even more and connect with even more people where they are. I want to connect with you where you are, because I know where you can get to. I know it. I have the proven track record. I have literally have multiple millionaires in my portfolio of clients. I have multiple individuals who have worked their way up from nothing to where they are now. And so I want to be there for you. So the phone number is up on the screen. You can text me. I will send you the link so that you can schedule your time with me. Yep, you can connect with me. $40, you can connect. And why? Because I'm here with Joe. Joe's my dude. We've gone through several years together now. And I just want to help. He knows my heart, because we've talked about a lot of stuff. So, my thing is, I have to give back. I have to take care of God's people. And hey, there you go.
Guys, listen. The nail salons is closed. The hair salons is closed. You was going to spend that $40 on your pedicure. You can't now, because this nail place is closed.
220 to change your life.
220 to change your life. Come on now.
Come on.
Listen, guys. This is important, and this is a crucial time. You got time on your hands now. There's a lot of distractions that's been removed. You can't go to the movies. You can't go out to eat. If you are still working, you're going to work and you're going back home. So you might as well use this time to feed yourself, feed your mind, feed your soul, and take one step closer to accomplishing the things that you want to accomplish. She's offering this deal for you guys, $40 for 1 hour business coaching sessions. $40.
It was so hilarious because when Joe was asking me, he was like, that's for 30 minutes, right? I said, no, that's for an hour. He was like, what? So all you got to do is text the phone number right there on your screen, text it, and you will get a link so that you can schedule your time with me. And if I can, before you wrap up, I just have 2 more things if I can just say before you wrap up. So my first thing, I want to, just plead, I'm literally pleading to you, is this is the opportunity that God is creating millionaires in a pandemic, in a crisis. This is what he does when it's time for the season to change, for him to make major shifts in your life. This is this opportunity. So I have been begging and pleading people. This is why I'm doing this right now. It's because you have to take the opportunity that we're sitting just literally doing nothing. He's giving us the opportunity to work his business principles. We are this opportunity that he is giving us. We're able to get into into the quiet place with him. We're able to start to get our downloads that we need. This is the time that he starts to do that shifting within us. And so I'm begging, literally, I am begging people to please write the vision, to please make it clear, to please start to strategize of what you're going to do. Please, 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 I'm begging you, save your money. Save the money in this season so that when we're released from Egypt, and I'm calling it in that manner because just like the people of Israel was being released, they were released and they left with the spoils of Egypt. So you can leave this season with the spoils from the season to go into your next season, but only if you do what you're supposed to do. And so I'm pleading, I'm begging with you. This is the time that if you're not investing, start investing. If you don't have $1,000 of emergency money, start saving it. If you have 1,000, start saving 5,000. This is the opportunity. If you have a business idea, you need to start it. You need to run with it. If you're in the state of Michigan, it doesn't matter what state you are in. Go on to your state's website and register your business. It's typically $50, no more than $100. We all have the money because I know if you're not working, you're on unemployment. So, okay, you got the money. Register the business idea. Your EIN, go onto the IRS.gov website. It's free. Don't pay anybody to set up your entity. It will be free for the EIN, and it's $50 to $100 on your state's website. There's no reason. The reason why you're not getting into the opportunities as far as grants and the PPP SBA dollars is because you did not take the opportunity that God presented to your plate last year as to start your business. And so you weren't able to capture the dollars that have been given out by the federal government. But it's not too late. Start the business today. So the next opportunity God will provide to you, you'll be able to take the spoils in that season. We have to line up with what God has for us and what he wants for us. You cannot, and I'm begging and I'm pleading with all of your listeners and viewers, please start the business. You ain't got to call me. Just start the business. Hey, start to save money. Start working on your credit. Start doing something. Don't sit there just watching TV and not doing anything. Please do something. So in my final remark, I want to give this scripture, and this is the scripture that I have been standing on this year, and God has blown my mind. It's Amos 9:13-15. It says in the Message Bible, yes, indeed, it won't be long now. God's decree is things are going to happen so fast, your head will swim. One thing fast on the heels of the other. You won't be able to keep up. Everything will be happening at once, and everywhere you look, blessings. So in this season, we're going to pursue. In this season, we're going to overtake. We're in this season, we're going to pick up the spoils. And in this season, we're about to recover every single blessing that is due to us in Jesus' name.
Wow. Wow. That was incredible. Wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Nicole. And I appreciate you, coming on here. And I'm going to post one more time her contact information. They're going to reach out to you. And I just thank you for taking the time to just be transparent and be who you are and share your information, your resources, and all of those things. And definitely, when I ask you to come back, is you going to come back?
You know I got you. You know I got you. Yeah, I got you, dude. You know you're my dude. I got you. We can do a round thing. I mean, I don't want to cut you off, but I know somebody had a quick question. I just want to answer it. Somebody asked about a DBA. What about a DBA and LLC? And I just want to quickly just say that your DBA is just doing business as. So it's like being a sole proprietor. So it's just you're connecting with yourself personally. You're saying, hey, I'm going to hook you up with a service, or you can pay me in this name. You do that down at your county clerk's office. The difference between that and the LLC is like giving birth. You actually created a whole nother separate being when you set up an LLC, a limited liability company. And so when you do an LLC, it separates you from the liabilities of that business. So you know how when we're in the hood and we always see the corner store, the corner gas station always changing their name like every 4 years, it's because they're separating themselves from the debt of that business. They don't, when you separate yourself with the LLC, it's like having a child and now they grown. You have a grown child, Joe. If you have a daughter, right? So
yes,
right. If she runs up her credit card bills, that's not your bill. That's her bill. It's the same, so it's the same thing with our business. Your business is separate from yourself. The only person who will co-mingle those two will be the IRS. Outside of that, no one else can co-mingle. So you can live between the two. So if I slip and fall on carpet and want to sue you, Joe, could only sue your business. I can't sue you personally. So personally, your home is protected. Your personal assets are protected when you have that LLC. And then when you then extend it where you have a trademark like Fusion, dude, you need to trademark it, but that's a whole nother conversation, right? Yes, because that's not, then now that's an added fee. You connect with a lawyer, preferably. You can do it yourself. If you're you connect with the copyright trademark office through the federal government, they can help you through the process. But also just getting with the attorney is like, hey, I don't do gutters, so why am I going to get on the roof to do the gutters? I mean, I'm going to stay in my lane. Hire somebody to do that, but each classification is $250 for a trademark. And in that particular classification, in that particular category, just like you see how Dove, you have Dove, the body soap, right? But you have Dove chocolate. Those are two different industries, but they have the same name. So, but they can both have their name because they're in a different industry. So, it's completely different, but they have their trademark for that particular industry on those classifications. So that was just really quick to answer that one question.
Yes. So you recommend them getting their LLC instead of just a DBA?
Correct. When you're doing just a DBA, I can slip and fall on carpet, sue you, and bam.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
I'm suing you. I get your house. You know I'm ratchet. So, I'm driving, pulling up in your car. I'm putting your wigs on. I'm taking everything. I'm taking everything. Taking everything.
So if you don't want somebody else wearing your wigs, you get you an LLC.
You better get you an LLC, girl. You better get you an LLC.
All right.
501c3 also have an EIN number. Every single type of entity has to have an EIN number. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm done because I have the takeover spirit, Joe. I have the takeover spirit. I'm done.
I know. It's okay. It's okay. No, this is good stuff. And because this is what I want. What Fusion is all about is I want people to walk away not just being inspired, but I want them to walk away with information that they can use to actuate and implement their plans and their strategies and things of that nature. So this is good. And I appreciate you taking this time out, man. This is crucial, and God bless you and all your ventures. Yes. And thank you so much. And we're going to have you back. Everybody give Dr. Nicole a hand. Well, we can't hear it, but yeah. All right. Well, I'm sounding like an old man. All right. That was a great show, guys. I appreciate you tuning in. And we're going to be coming back with another show very soon. I'm trying to schedule one before next Wednesday because I want to keep this momentum going. And it's very crucial, again, that you take, I don't want to just inspire you. I want to give you information, and I want to see you go forward and step out and become successful and become the next millionaire, become the next multimillionaire, become the next billionaire. These are seeds that we're sowing right now for your life to be different and for your life to be better and for your life to change. And if you want to reach out to me, this is my contact information. You can email me at joesmithworldwide@gmail.com. If you want me to come for speaking engagements and things of that nature, one of the things that I'm going to get with Dr. Nicole on, and I forgot to touch on this while she was on, is I want to put together programs that we can take inside churches and things of that nature and help, because I want to help our people to take this information directly to them and bring in resources to help them not just dance and shout, not just say, I'm a millionaire, not just say, woo, God's going to bless me, God's going to give me blessings, but helping people understand the work that goes into it, helping people understand the dedication and the resilience that goes into it, as well as giving them resources. Because even after I inspire you and I motivate you and I give you that unction to want to go forward, if you still don't know how to write a business plan, or you still don't know how to do financial projections, or you don't know who to call to help you do these things, you'll still end up in the same place. And I'm starting this because I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of seeing our people stuck in the same place. And I'm tired of seeing us spinning our wheels when we have the ability to start the next Facebook, to start the next Airbnb, to start the next Google, to start the next whatever. You have the power and the ability right in your hands. Some of you, the jobs that you're working on every day, there's vendors that service your jobs. Study and find out who those vendors are. You can become that vendor. I have a friend right now who, he became a multimillionaire because he was working for one of the big three, and he was the liaison for the minority suppliers that supplied the big three. And when he saw those contracts and those deals, he said, well, I'm on the wrong side of the business. He said, I need to start me a supplier company. And he started a supplier company. Instead of him working for the big three and getting to the suppliers, he became a supplier. And, at his height, his company was worth about 300 million. So that's what I'm talking about. If you work at a company, let's say you're a security guard, find out who that security company gets their uniforms from. and find out, go online and find out if I could start a company and become that security company's supplier for their uniforms. If I can undercut their price, then I'm in business. You know, I was talking to a friend of mine, and we were talking about how when the government, like the city of Detroit, the state of Michigan, the federal government, when they're looking for bids for contracts for things, there are people who become millionaires by responding to those. I think it's called an RFP, is what it's called when you submit proposals for bids for things. So let's say, for example, I'm just going to make up something. Somebody, the city of Detroit is looking for somebody to provide office furniture in all of the city buildings that they own. And so they say, we're looking for somebody to give this contract to. You know, you can go online and find a supplier to get the furniture wholesale or get it, you know, at cost or whatever, and you can apply for that contract. I know people that have done it. I know one lady, they were looking for somebody to give a contract to haul all of the waste for the city of Detroit. This woman was she owned a real estate company. She wasn't in the waste hauling business. So what she did was she went and found a company that would haul the waste for her. She made a deal with them, and to do the actual work, she formed a company. And so she was partnered with the company that was going to actually do the work. She formed a company, bid on the contract. It was a $7 million contract. Now, mind you, this was in the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s. So 7 million back then is probably twice that now. And so she got the bid. She got the contract because at that time, Mayor Coleman Young was looking for Black businesses to do business with. This is the kind of thing that Dr. Farmer was talking about. And she didn't know nothing about no waste hauling, sludge hauling, but she started a company, made a partnership with somebody to do the work. She found a place to take the sludge and made a deal with them and got the $7 million contract. And, you know, she was in business. She became a millionaire from that. So you got to think bigger. Don't let your limitations stop you from accomplishing the things that you want to accomplish. But I understand the daily routines of life can box us in to where all we see is the grind. But if you can think bigger, if you can see yourself bigger, you can have bigger. And Dr. Nicole Farmer is definitely, and her story is definitely an attest to that. This is going to be on my Facebook page. Please share it. You can also see this. I also stream this to YouTube. So you can go to YouTube. My page is Joe Smith, Millionaire Joe. It should come up. Follow me on YouTube. Like it, share it, whatever you do on YouTube, whatever you do on Facebook, share this with your family members that's stuck in poverty. Share this with your friends, share this with your spouses and your boyfriends and your girlfriends, your children, because some of your children sit up all day and they listening to hip hop and rap, and you know, all they thinking about is smoking weed and getting high. Let them see that you ain't got to do that. You ain't got to try to be like Drake or try to be like the Baby or none of these other rappers. You can be like Mark Zuckerberg. You can be like some of these other people that we look at and we idolize, not realizing they're just people. Millionaires and billionaires are not aliens from another planet. Millionaires and billionaires are not special people. They're people just like you and I. The only difference is they took the knowledge and what they had and leveraged it in a different way than you and I. That's it. So stay tuned. Watch my page for the next show. And I love you guys for tuning in. Thank you. This was an amazing first show for Fusion. Hey, if you want one of these t-shirts, holla at me. I hook you up now. Woo! First show. Woo! Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. God bless.